Hey, good morning, everybody. BDF44 coming at you with another video. So, I woke up this morning thinking about the same thing everybody else been thinking about, the Will Smith, Chris Rock situation. Had a few additional thoughts about that. Um, I just, I just like what I saw from Tyler Perry, um, Denzel Washington, and Bradley Cooper coming to Will's aid and kind of uh, just helping him through the situation. I think a lot of people, I hear everyone who says, "What about those coming to Chris Rock's aid? What about those who, Chris Rock was the one who was assaulted?" Yeah, but I think for those of us who look at things from a mental health perspective, um, I think it was very obvious that Will was hurting more than Chris Rock was. That slap, and that's assuming this wasn't real. I mean, excuse me, assuming this wasn't scripted or fake or publicity stunt, which I'm not convinced is not by any stretch of the imagination. But as I always do, there are multiple variables that could be possible, and I just go with one and have a conversation about it. But it could be multiple things in my head. I don't want anybody to think I'm married to anything in regards to stuff like this. But nevertheless, um, if this was real, I do believe that Will appeared to be under duress, and I know he's been, talked about a lot over the last several years, and his wife has as well for some of the stuff that's happened in their personal life that has played out in the public eye. Obviously, we've all heard or seen the Red Table Talk, so we know how serious they take their mental health and the community um, energy that they provide one another and their friends to try to talk through their situations and circumstances. But yet, even so, is so much to work with when you consider all that's out there in the open for us to know is about their lives. And you know, I've grown up in LA. As I've told you guys a million times, you hear stuff around LA. I've heard the rumors about Will and all this stuff. He's just been talked about a lot, and I think it's taking its toll. As a man starts to get to a point where you reach all of the pinnacles of your life. I mean, he won Best Oscar last night. Um, he just aired the new re-release of Fresh Prince. Although I haven't seen it at all, um, I heard it was fantastic, and I would imagine seeing that, having that come to fruition, going back around kind of full circle with the Fresh Prince of Bel Air hype and energy, and just kind of revisiting all of that. It's a lot going on. You know what I mean with Will Smith. His kids are grown now. They have their own thing going on. They're professionals in their own lane doing things. It's a lot happening, and you just understand that his marriage has been played out, and everybody's had something to say about it. Everybody had something to say about different things, and so I don't think not only was he slapping Chris Rock, but I think he was slapping each and every individual who's had something to say about Jada Pinkett or his family or himself for the past 30 years. Stuff that he suppressed because of his image throughout the years, being the biggest star in the world. As he said on that stage, when he was accepting the speech, sometimes you got to sit there and smile while people disrespect you. Over time, that piles up. And for a star as big as Will Smith, when you have that type of media training, that type of PR backing, you can't make certain mistakes at all. You can't express yourself in any way at all. You know what I mean? There are certain things that you just cannot do. And he's done a great job of never doing those things. Maybe once in a while somebody try to kiss him or something, he slap him in the face. But other than that, Will Smith has kept a smile on his face, said what he needed to say to support who he needed to support while people talk and say whatever they had to say behind his back or in front of the camera or whatever. And I just think it reached the head for him, you know? And you know what I've been thinking about? COVID was a traumatic experience for the entire world. Every single soul who was conscious enough to see and understand experienced dramatic change and dramatic adjustments were needed. Even for those who were wealthy, all the way down to us, different levels, obviously, different types of concerns, but nevertheless, those traumas, you can just see it across the board, across everybody, behavior, across all the way from government, all the way down to your street block. People's behavior is just a little bit on edge since COVID. And I think that plays into it as well. Whatever we just went through, it can give people a sense of urgency or a fight. I don't know what the right word would be, but I guess it would just put you in a space where you're a bit more on edge than maybe you would have been 2-3 years ago, just in general. So I think that's one aspect of it. And then overall, I mean, I just look at Will and I say, man, I don't know that he was really, doing this. I don't know if this wasn't acting or some clout stuff. It could have been. But if this was real, I'm just glad he had some people there to help him out. Particularly some brothers there. When you're in a space like that, not only do you represent yourself, but you represent all of the black people all over the country, all over the world. Anybody that wants to be an actor, it's not even limited to black people, people of color, even spread out. People who want to be like you, want to be like Will Smith, want to be like Denzel. That comes with a lot of pressure, comes with a lot of expectations. And I don't envy people who are in those positions. I look at our very own guy over here in LA, Laker fan, LeBron James. I think he has some of those things that he has to do as well. We talk about suppressing things and not being able to say what he wants to say. He has to use social media to kind of insinuate his concerns rather than be able to blurt them out. And you just wonder if, not to project that on him specifically, but just anybody who's forced to live that way, regardless if they're wealthy or not, if they're forced to do this at all times, especially with things that bother them, when they feel disrespected, things that pluck at the ego, that can tend to pressure up. They can build up over time. And eventually, slap somebody in the face at the Oscars. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's important, I think, when you're in those fields and in that circumstance, to surround yourself with people who can keep you grounded, who can tell you no, who you will listen to and respect their opinion, so they can give you that truth about yourself and to remind you that not everyone out there is going to be yes man. Not everybody out there is going to acquiesce to you just because you're a superstar. Not everybody out there is going to make life smooth for you, and you're going to have to be able to handle yourself and keep your poise consistently over time. You may be able to pull it off 4, 5, 6, even 10 years, but year 11, somebody gonna say the wrong thing to you, and because you're not used to people being honest with you, or you're not used to that energy, you're gonna pop on somebody. You're gonna snap, and that's one thing that I think is important. You just got to keep yourself grounded, keep the right people around you, so they can keep you sane. You know what I mean? So that's just a part of that. Not to say that Will Smith does or does not have those people. It's just something that came to mind as we speak about this. So, yeah, man. Yeah, that's what it is. I understand that, Jada may have a medical issue that might have put her in a position to have her head bald right now. And I don't know if, I don't know if Chris Rock knew this. If he didn't know this, the question I have is, did the Academy know this? Or the Oscars, whatever they call them. And if they knew this, did they know what joke he was going to say? And if so, then we got some other questions to ask. Because somebody approved that joke. If it wasn't on the fly, if he didn't ad-lib that, somebody approved it. And that person deserves a slap too, for whatever it's worth. You understand what I'm saying? And I've been digging in around and finding out there's a lot of stuff with the Oscars. Obviously, back in 2016, I'm sure most people know. Tyrese had pointed it out that I saw. Chris Rock had said some very messed up stuff back in his early monologue for that particular Oscars. And it's funny because I remember that. I had forgotten about it, but when I started watching it, I remember he said a lot of stuff about, Jada and Will. Like a good third of his monologue, opening monologue, was jokes about them. you could totally see why Will was so upset about, you know, Chris Rock, particularly on that stage, making yet another joke about his wife that she didn't take well to. I would question Will as to why he was laughing in the first place. Did the joke not catch? Did you not realize that the G.I. Jane joke was about her being bald? Initially, you know what I mean? Because you were laughing. Or you just playing the game and then looked over at her and decided to get up and just. And what I mean by playing the game is where you just, ha ha ha, you know, playing the game. And then realized that she was upset and like snapped. You know what I mean? And then when we start talking about snap, it takes me back to what we were saying about 5 minutes ago, where you know you gotta not let it get to that point. You can't let your energy get suppressed to a point where you can't control it, especially in pressure moments. And I love what Denzel told him and what he quoted Denzel saying to him. Like, and I'm paraphrasing, but at your highest point, at your highest moment, that's when the devil come after you. You know, and that's wisdom I'm gonna carry with me for the rest of my life. I haven't reached my highest point. I don't know what that would be, but I'd imagine, you know, I'd have to stay on my toes, and so will the rest of us. So carry that with you as well. I think at the end of the day, if I just want to sum up this video so I can get back to eating breakfast and stuff like that, is to just say I'm glad those three guys were there. You know, again, to kind of console him. You know, it's the image of not only two black men of power there to help represent our brother, because you know at the end of the day we're seen as us by whomever. At the end of the day, it's not Denzel, Tyler, and Will. It's them black dudes over there, especially when there's an incident like this. It's the black dudes came to the aid of the black dudes. And while some people are gonna feel cringe about that, I think as a black person or as myself, I find comfort in that. To know that we have brothers that both look like us and don't, who will come and try to provide a good energy when we're not in our best moments. You know what I mean? And I felt like that was genuine energy that they was giving him, trying to make sure not only that he was okay, but that he remembered that he's representing more than himself when he's up there, including that of Serena's father and Venus's father, of whom the night was about for him in receiving the award. So, yeah, all of that in perspective, I still look at all of those guys as legends. Everybody I mentioned there, super legends. And I appreciate all of their work. And I just hope that this blows over. Most definitely and most importantly, I hope Jada's health gets to a point where everybody's good and she's good. And, you know, jokes can be funny again. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope it gets to a point like that. That's also part of it for me. I got a little scared. Not necessarily scared, like, but like concerned. When you see a man jump up in a situation like that, you start wondering if everything's okay with Jada's health. Is it worse than we think? You know, when a man gets up that emotional and slaps another grown man on stage in front of everybody for saying a joke, suddenly you start wondering, is this worse than what we're told? So that's also something that's on my mind. I hope she's all right. So that's what I got to say, man. That's where I'll leave it. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.